So in this session we're going to have a quick look at the HR job loader available to us in the application interface wizard in terms of a template, and it's going to allow us the ability to create, update and delete jobs as mirrored in the jobs window of the Oracle EBS suite. So the first thing we need to do is load the new template. So basically from the list of values we'll select the job loader, and then we'll create the new template. And effectively this gives us all the fields or columns that are available to us within the particular loader, and so all that we'd ever need in terms of that creation of the jobs. So the first step in the exercise is to go through and tailor the sheet for your requirements. So this is using standard Excel functionality where we might delete columns that we're not using, we might hide the columns, and we can move the order of the columns by using the cut and paste functionality of Excel. And the point to note is row 10. Row 10 is our default row, so any value that we might have in row 10 will be reflected on the subsequent rows in terms of production. So it saves a little bit of time and energy in terms of where you can put a default field, then you just use row 10, and as you'll see it will be reflected against the production rows as we go through. The greyed out areas are for system messaging, and the white cells are for direct data entry. So if we go to a sheet that we'd prepared earlier with the data, essentially there's three ways of getting the data in. We can type directly into the cell, we can, if we've got the data existing in a separate spreadsheet or file, then basically we can copy and paste that data directly into the workbook, bearing in mind that the columns need to line up in terms of the data elements. And the third method of getting data in is using the data forms. So we can use the data form, and as you'll see here, just a minute, we'll select the jobs, and that will then bring us back the form, as we can see here. So the yellow areas are mandatory, so we need to fill those, and where we've got the ability to use the wildcard searching, so we can go away and search for combinations in this particular case. Where we've got a date picker, then we can use the date and select the date, and where we've got a drop down list we can select the value from the drop down list. In this case create, update or delete. So the form is very useful way of getting data into the sheet. So once the data is in the sheet, as you can see here, each of the sections are populated, then basically we can go through and we can do one of two things. We can do the validate process as a separate process, so that's validating the data into the spreadsheet to make sure it's correct, or alternatively we can do the upload process, and the upload process essentially does that validation process in the first instance, so it does it in the one pass. So we'll go through and upload all on the spreadsheet. We could have selected particular rows that we just wanted to validate and upload, or we can select them all off the sheet. So you can see the default row working there, so the word create has been populated against each of the rows, and you can see the validation has passed in terms of the data. So now it's going through and doing the creation, and as you can see at a fairly fast pace we've now created those jobs within Oracle. So the next step in the exercise might be that the download functionality. So it might be that we want to download information back into the spreadsheet for updating. So we can basically copy the value into the spreadsheet, and we can use the download functionality, either a download form or download using the data sheet. So in this case we'll download into the sheet, and it will bring that data back down into the spreadsheet, as you can see there, and effectively we could then go through and update the information using the update value and go through that process of uploading again. So that gives us quite a bit of power in terms of being able to download information and update. And equally we could download, and if you remember the value earlier, we could delete. So we could delete the job through the spreadsheet. So that is a very quick look at the HR job loader.